welcome to Show Up, Stand Out Online Visibility Series for Entrepreneurs. Today my guest is Beth Griffith. Beth is a brand strategist helping her clients to maximize the experience their business provides so that their network and team can't help but being their biggest promoters. Hi Beth, how are you?
Hi Juliette, I'm so great. How are you? It's so good to be back on, so thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, I'm so delighted. It's going to be a great chat, and we haven't seen each other in a while, so there's a great energy now as well to reconnect.
Yes.
Yes, guys, Beth is, she's like my twin who lives across the pond. We're all this kind of similar kind of blonde, crazy women, but we're doing a good thing, believe me and believe us, you know, so we just want to tell you today some strategies and some tips about how to grow your audience, because that's something that Beth is focusing on, growing the audience, creating the impact, and doing it very authentically. So just in very, very short, Beth, if you can introduce yourself to those people who haven't seen our last show.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Beth Griffith. I'm a brand strategist, and I help people to basically look at their businesses from 4 different perspectives. From the perspective of themselves as the owner, from their teams, whether they have one or not. You need to be building your business with the intent of having a team, from their consumer's point of view, and also their network point of view. And so I help people to consciously build those businesses from all of those different perspectives, making sure that everybody who is involved in that business actually wants to stay involved in that business.
Because it's all about energy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
yes.
The energy of the team. You can see it in offline businesses sometimes. You can always feel that what's going on when you're in the premises as well. And bringing that online is so important.
Yes, absolutely. And just one of the things that people don't think about when we're beginning to build that business, we start to think about, how do I show up authentically? But then they don't start to really develop the feeling and the vibe of their actual brand itself, thinking about, okay, how is this going to look 5 years down the road? And how am I going to make sure that somebody has the same experience with whatever onboarding process they have as they would have with me? And so it takes a lot of conscious awareness and deeper thought than a lot of people want to think about at that beginning stage of your business. But if you start at the beginning, it's going to make it so much easier.
That's right, absolutely. So it's an interesting view. So basically, to just kind of summarize, or maybe just dig deeper a little bit into that, so you're saying there's a difference between saying, okay, I'm going to show up as myself, I'm going to build up visibility, I'm going to just connect to people and create the relationships, but you need to take that kind of up a notch a little bit. So it's not just about you. So when you're saying about your brand, what do the people have to think about presenting their brand from the start the correct way?
The bottom line is the experience. Okay, so we have to think about if you want people to have an experience that is luxurious, if you want people to have a high-end experience that's going to make people invest with you at a higher price point, you have to start looking at, okay, so how am I interacting with people as they're being first exposed to my business and in repeated, exposures to my business? How do I think about each of those interactions and instill my brand philosophy in the actual experience people have? But then also, how do I use my online social media content? And this is, what I really want to dig into today. So how do I use my social media content to make sure that people actually have an experience? Because when we think about experiences, there's some different things that we need to know. So first off, when people are exposed to content, it depends on how they are exposed to that content, whether that content actually sticks with them. So I don't know, Juliette, I know that you've done like Katia's challenges in the past, her live streaming challenges, and they are experiences, not her sitting there telling you what to do. So, I don't know, did you see a difference in her challenges versus other people's?
Well, to be honest with you, I will be particularly honest with you. We're talking about Katia Varbanova, the lifestyle strategist. We're both part of Fairy 10K, and we're connected to Katia. Yes, Katia ran a challenge, and after that, I joined Fairy 10K. I did not do the challenge. I did watch watched the videos and I did not do the challenge. There's too much things going on my plate, but I won a prize because I just remembered so many good things about Katya, and she was, doing this kind of thing where you needed to guess things, like where she went to university and you had to be attentive. And even though I wasn't really paying attention, somehow I knew all the things. So I won more than one prize, but it wasn't fair to get the two. So
even though you didn't participate, you still had an experience around her brand.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes, it actually what did it for me, and this is an interesting observation, even though I didn't go and implement what was in the challenge, because for me it wasn't actually even clear. I didn't go that deep even to think, but watching her doing the challenge over a few days and getting the experience of experiencing Katya's vibe and Katya's brand as a whole definitely made my purchasing decision to join Peri 10K straight after that. And it's interesting because in Peri 10K now we have a team of people who are running the show. It's not all about Katya, and Katya is trying to remove herself sometimes, because this is the idea when you're scaling up, that you can remove yourself. And the interesting thing is that experience is present with all people who are on the top team that is running this community, and that's very, very important. And I think that's what Beth is trying to explain to us what it is, because we are all individual. Yes, we're all crazy, and it's good to share it sometimes, because you'll connect to the same lovely crazy people as well, and that's all good. But when you're hiring a team, when you're building a team, you have to ensure that these people are also on the same side, as you. Am I getting this
absolutely
correct?
Yeah. Yes. So there's so much comprehensive work to what I do, but you're absolutely right. And so what it comes down to is, how do you have that same philosophy that you want to have showing up with that team, but how do you have that same philosophy showing up with the exposures in your social media? Okay, so with Katie Varbanova, she's been able to create a really incredible experience, and that's one of the things that helped to grow Peri 10K, and that experience continues beyond, right? Considering what experience you give people on the front end and continuing to give them that experience as they get deeper into your brand. There are so many people who they have an incredible experience up until the sales point, and then it drops off. That's terrible for your brand.
That's true. That's true.
And if you can continue that really positive, amazing experience beyond that, that's when you get clients and customers who they are the ones referring and growing your business for you.
That's right.
That's what you want to create.
Word of mouth is one of the most popular, or not popular, not of the most powerful marketing techniques, because when somebody is really truly genuinely promoting you to their friends, their connections, and saying with passion, that's the best way that people start trusting you. I think we're both having problems talking today. At some stages of this show, guys, this is live show, so that's what happens when you're live. You just keep going. But
yes.
you know what I'm trying to say. So I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Let's go back to
so I was just gonna mention one more thing about like that on that front end, on that social media side of things. A lot of things that people don't think about is how to create that experience. And I wanted to talk real quick about what's the real reason that you want to do that. So people neurologically are wired very specific ways, but we know that there have been tons and tons of studies that have been done that have shown that when you expose people to content in different ways, they absorb it differently. So if you expose people to content just simply telling it to them, just talking at them, they absorb about 10% of that information. Then a little bit, if you actually present that information with graphics, with images, show people what it is that you're teaching them, they retain about 25% of that. So then though, if you can actually make them have an experience with it, they retain 75% of that information. And if you can get them teaching it as well, they retain 90% of that information. And so when you start to recognize that everything that you're doing in your marketing and in your business is you are teaching and educating people on why they need to be passionate about your brand, it completely changes things, because all of a sudden you're going to be able to act from this place of, I am creating content to make it so that people have a 75 to 90% retention rate. Their brains are going to be recalling your brand all on its own. right? So anyway, just wanted to
That's
let you know why that's important.
I've actually experienced this myself, guys, and listen to this. I was a real big fan of live streaming, and I don't really do produced videos. I love turning on and just, being myself. But recently I started taking myself to the next level, and I started creating videos with text. I always thought that they were, simple videos. Who cares about them? But that's not the point. The point is that to offer different types of content, because different people perceive information in different ways, and it's important to create different types of content. And also, not everybody have time sometimes to listen to a talking head, right? So maybe they have time to listen to watch a small video with text for 1 minute only, but get a lot of information that could have been delivered in half an hour as well, in a live video. So what I've noticed when I started doing this is a huge like the amount of shared videos that I had was maybe 4 times, maybe even more than the normal rate that I would normally have. And that made me think that you need to create that pattern interrupt. It's not just only turn on and do your video or do your interview, so create beautiful graphics. And it's okay about repetition of the information, because this is exactly the point. Different people perceive things different ways. And so, as Beth just said, think about this and create the whole experience, and then overall your conversion rates will go up as well.
Yeah, and then it's really interesting that you had that experience with the actual text. So there are actually these different brain types, and there's a particular brain type that I've seen a lot in the entrepreneur world, and it's the visual brain type. And visual people are not going to be watching live streams because it takes too much time. They are quick and to the point people, and they don't want to just sit and listen forever. They want to see the information and move on, right? And so that's one of the things, is that if you can create content that goes to those people, those are actually people who they literally are neurologically wired to care about their social status. And so they are the people who want to invest in themselves and do things to get themselves further. So
are you listening to this,
anyway,
guys? Are you listening to this now? Now rewind back. Soon we're going to have this option to rewind the live stream, but rewind this back and listen again and again and again until it gets into your head. People who are prepared to invest, right, are most likely visual people who will react to a video with some text and some images, or maybe a little bit of a voice as well if you want behind that. But just remember this day when we
yes. So there are all these different brain types, and each type you can absolutely get to invest. But if you know that is who your ideal client is somebody who's concerned about their social status, you need to be creating content that is visually based and concise, and something that somebody can just look at, get the information, be done, but you're sticking in their head.
That's a good point. So. Yeah, that's a good point about if you're targeting them. But that's still fantastic, because to be honest with you, anyone who is investing, if you're a coach, for example, anyone who invests in a coach is a person who cares at some level about their social status in some way or form, so this is a very good observation. So interesting. Let me just, maybe for another 5 minutes, I'll ask you a question. If it's too big, let me know. But how did you, in short, were able to come from having a broken tab business to fully booked from the online brand strategy?
Well, honestly, it was leadership. It was learning about leadership. I went to some different retreats last year, and I ended up learning about the importance of communication, of communicating clearly, of saying what I want, of saying what I need, and not holding myself back emotionally. And these leadership retreats, they completely changed the way I saw the world, and they made it so that I decided, one of the things that they say at these particular retreats all the time, over and over and over, is it's okay to move quickly. It's okay to move quickly. And that's something that I hadn't realized how much I didn't give myself permission to succeed at what I did quickly. And so I had actually stepped away from my business for a period of time. And I came back to my marketing business. I come back to my marketing business, and I did one live stream back in my new business, and I was immediately fully booked by that weekend.
I believe
And I've been fully booked since. So, so it's that passion, it's that emotion, it's not holding back and allowing yourself to succeed and go quickly. It's all mindset, honestly.
It's so funny because this week I actually posted maybe 2 or 3 days ago, it's okay to give yourself permission, and I've been talking about giving permission. I've given myself permission to exercise this weekend, and I haven't missed a day, and I feel great. So I know exactly what you're saying. There is things that hold us back. You know, I was procrastinating for about 3 months to create a really, really good checklist freebie. Guys, it's done today because it's all done. I just sat down and gave myself permission to do it. And then half an hour, 30 minutes later, I was looking at this fully created PDF, 27 points, optimize your Facebook, everything. And I was saying, wow, this is awesome. I just literally didn't give myself permission to sit down and do it before. So what you just said, Beth, is just so, it's just really, really works. We're holding ourselves back because we're not moving quickly enough. And this is brilliant. And see what happens? And that's the energy that because you become more confident when you do this. And the energy creates the energy of selling, which is an energy of attraction as well. And this, you know, exchange of energy, actually. It's not just selling, taking money, it's exchange. And it's absolutely wonderful, isn't it? It's really pleasure. It
really is. And just one other thing along that line of giving yourself permission is that a lot of times you just don't even recognize what you're not giving yourself permission for. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you're going towards. And as soon as you do have that experience where you say to yourself, like, no, you know what? I'm allowed to succeed. It's shocking how quickly it happens.
Did you have any strategies do you have any tips that you would use to identify what you're procrastinating on or what you're holding yourself back on? Do you have any?
Yes. So honestly, it's the question why. So I might say, I don't want to do this. Why? Well, because of blah, blah, blah. Why? You keep asking yourself why at least 7 times. I actually recommend you take a notebook, you write out what it is, ask yourself, then you write the word why. Then you write out the answer to that. You go at least 7 layers deep, but oftentimes it's even deeper than that, and you're going to get to the core of it. You're going to get to the root. And typically it's one of these three things. You don't want to be controlled, you don't want to be neglected, or you don't want to be rejected. And you have to identify which of those things is, stop that behavior, and figure out what you're going to do instead.
Wow, it's amazing. That's very similar to what I do as well. I as well write it down, and then I write why am I procrastinating, what is stopping me, what exactly, and then you get to the bottom. But I love these 3 things that we all boil down to. Everything all boils down to always the same, not the same, but always something small, like 2 or 3 things in every issue in life, you know. So this is a great exercise. Beth, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people follow you if they want to know more?
You can actually, I recommend that you follow me on YouTube. I'm making the transition over to YouTube. So you can go find Beth Griffith show over on YouTube and subscribe there. You can go to my Facebook business page, which is the Beth Griffith Show, and follow me there too.
Perfect. It's easy to find, and I'll put both links in the description of this video on YouTube as well, because this is going on YouTube as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Beth, it's always lovely to see you, and it's always lovely to have you. I hope I'll
so good to see you.
Maybe we'll do a YouTube live stream together.
Yes, for sure.
Great. Okay, guys, thanks a million, and don't forget to rewind and listen to all these golden nuggets that we were dropping in the last 20 minutes. Thanks, guys, and bye.